William, come with me.
Oh yeah, where are we going?
Would I lead you down the wrong path?
Oh yes.
I'm taking you to a new episode of Garden
Oh,
Time.
then let's hurry. Welcome to Garden Time. We are out here at the Rogerson Clematis Garden, and later on in the show I'm going to be talking to Kathy about how you can plan your perennial border.
And also coming up, we'll be showing you how to prune your climbing roses.
But coming up first, Tips of the Month with Jan McNeilin.
Well, it's our first Tips with Jan of the year. And Jan, it's so great to be back with you.
It is. It certainly is.
And so we need to talk about the season so far. It's just been so crazy.
Yeah.
January was really nice. We all thought, okay, we're going to have an early spring. And then February was super, super cold. And now we're into March and it's kind of, what do we think? What's going on?
Well, you never know for sure.
That's true.
Yes, but January I still had fuchsias blooming, and I really thought, and I know a lot of other people did too, it's like, oh, okay, I think we're going to make it through without pots freezing that you forgot to mulch or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, then it happened that we got a lot of cold weather, and you may lose some things because of that that you thought would make it. Don't be too big a hurry to prune them back, and just wait to see some new growth, and then you'll know if you lost it or not.
But look at those flowers in your hand. So things are blooming.
A hellebore, and these are snowdrops, and there's things this time of year that are meant to bloom now. Daffodils and other bulbs, they may have come up already. They can take hardy. They're hardy enough that they can take really cold weather.
Right, right. So just be patient.
Yes.
We're not patient gardeners, but try to be patient.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we got some pruning done here.
Well, that's good. Look at that.
This tree is about 30 years old, and it never really, only once I think we pruned it a little bit. It's really never needed it. It's a sturdy little tree with the smallest branches are as big around as your thumb on it. And so we got that pruned, and some other fruit trees and pears and pruned as well. And you can rejuvenate these old trees.
Yeah.
If you prune them really hard, you're going to get some sucker growth on it. You've got to be prepared to take that out. And so you could, if you, let's say we waited until summer to do this, you can do summer pruning and take a third out one summer, a third out the next, and a third out the next, because they're going into dormancy.
Okay.
And then you won't get those water sprouts.
That's a good tip too.
Yeah,
yeah. Great.
So we got a lot of work done. We've really developed a considerable amount of debris.
Definitely. Well, so it's not too late to prune.
No, it's not. But if it's something that's tender and it's going to shoot some new growth right away, you may want to wait a little bit.
Right, because we still can get chilly.
It's still okay for roses. The roses haven't, ours anyway, aren't in enough sun that they've popped too much. So not too late.
Oh, great. Well, let's go to another part of the yard, because we're going to talk about another winter kind of tip there.
Okay.
So Jan, I'll help you do this if you come over to my garden and help me.
Okay, okay.
So really, it's time to take all the leaves out of the beds.
Right, and I usually do this every year, and I usually take, luckily I didn't this year, I usually take everything off, the leaves off probably the end of February, but we had so much cold weather. But now I'm beyond where I should have taken them off. I had to go to Hawaii. So
oh, well, gee, that's hard.
I know. So what I'll do is just pull all this stuff off and see what I have underneath. And here, there's some hyacinths in here and some daffodils, and they just come right up through the leaves. And so I'll just clean them all up and put them out in the sun. And anything that's white down below, where the depth of the leaves was, this one isn't too bad, but they'll green up in a hurry and develop chlorophyll in there.
And they'll be really fine.
Yeah, and I started to do these pots a few years back. It's so much easier to just clean them up, put them out, let them bloom, and then put them away, so that you don't have to have all the bulb debris.
Oh, the old foliage once they're
Sure,
bloomed.
you just move them.
Perfect.
So look at that. That's been covered up. But it's like blanched asparagus.
There you go.
But you can, it'll come right back in just a few days. It'll develop enough chlorophyll.
And then what about too many leaves around the stem of a tree?
Well, all of this is going to come out of here. I don't even know what's in here.
It's like surprise.
It's like, oh, it's Christmas. Anyway, and then yeah, all the pots that have trees in them, I'll take all the leaves off, get it down to the soil level where it's supposed to be. You don't want to leave that on there because it'll rot the bark.
Right. And then really, you want the soil temperature to start warming up too, so you get that in case you're going to be planting vegetables or other plants.
Sure. Well, that's it in the spring, and all the time over these years that we've been talking about it, using a soil thermometer to know when the soil is starting to warm up, and that's what we want to have happen.
Definitely. So it's time to get out in our gardens. It's finally the spring. So if you have any other questions, please go to Garden Time, and we'll click you over to the OSU website because there's always tips on that website. Thanks so much, Jan.
You're welcome. Bye.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Hi, I'm Sarah from Portland Nursery, where spring is our favorite time of year. It's the time to prepare your garden for planting. We invite you to get a jump on spring with our huge selection. Let Portland Nursery's staff of professionals help with groceries you can grow. We've got the seeds, veggie starts, and expertise to ensure your success. Visit portlandnursery.com for a list of classes and special events. Portland Nursery, helping make your backyard your favorite destination at 50th and Stark and 90th and Division.
Since 1982, the Wall has been making local gardens beautiful, naturally. Whether you need a new wall, concrete patio, fire pit, or driveway, the Wall's expert craftsmen can build it. We back up our work with a 5-year warranty, so you'll know it'll last. We use the highest quality materials, including stamped colored concrete, natural stone, and we're the leader in using recycled concrete. Create an outdoor environment you'll enjoy for years, with the help of your friends at The Wall.
Welcome to Blooming Junction, where it's easy to connect with nature. At Blooming Junction, you'll find beautiful, healthy plants, good, fresh food, and a place to regain peace and calm in your life. We have an unsurpassed collection of unique and distinctive plants and the expertise to help any gardener be successful. And we feature Blooming Advantage plants. Come check out Blooming Junction for an inspiring experience in the garden or in the kitchen. Blooming Junction, offering quality plants for beautiful gardens.
Since 1926, the BONIDE Company has worked with homeowners to make their homes and gardens beautiful. If you have a garden problem, BONIDE has the answer. Get a lawn that all the neighbors will envy with BONIDE's DuraTurf grass seeds. Full sun to dense shade, DuraTurf is self-repairing, disease and insect resistant. Visit bonide.com to find a local retailer and to download your free BONIDE Problem Solver app for your iPhone or Droid.
Come to where the color is. Come to Egan Gardens. We've worked hard growing healthy plants for you so that your gardening is easy. Add sparkle to your garden with our perennials, container plants, and skillfully designed baskets and planters.
Check out all our cool-looking succulents, then learn about edible landscapes on Saturday afternoon at 2. The class is free.
Egan Gardens, where it's all about the plants. We're located west of I-5 at exit 263 on River Road.
Well, it's a great delight for me to be here at Fred Meyer in Wilsonville. And of course, I'm delighted because I'm here with you, Ryan, from Little Prince, and we are going to be talking about this month's plant pick, but you've kind of made a selection. So tell me what's going on.
I have. So this month I decided to choose early season blooming perennials.
Okay.
So perennials are one of those, they're the workhorses of the garden.
Right.
So, you have your big sense. The perennials they come in, they bloom their heads off, they give you lots of color, they come back year after year, and you can plant your perennials to have different seasons of blooming and growth.
Nice.
So what I've kind of showcasing here are some of the earlier season blooming perennials.
All right.
So and here we have some different creeping phlox. So creeping phlox are nice. They are a evergreen ground cover.
Nice.
And so they do come on, they're starting to bloom now. This is pretty close to getting their bloom time. And they come in an array of different colors. So you can get some with the white colors, some with the kind of the pink eyes, you know, the magenta
This
colors.
leans toward lavender.
It does.
Almost,
Yeah, one's called that's a blue.
Wow.
As they're called. They're blue.
Lovely.
And so these are a fun one to put in the gardens. You know, they'll spread, fill in a nice patch. You can put them in your rockeries.
Nice.
Another fun one that blooms this time of year is the aprecia. This is purple shades of aprecia.
Beautiful.
Aprecia is also a nice compact grower, makes a nice sized clump, and then it gets loaded with these flowers come spring. So these are just now starting to come into bloom.
Pop out. Yeah, I love that they're already blooming right now. So people, and we know we love having the color to see that we like, because it really makes a difference.
It does. You know, especially when you get into like the English, you know, the little daisies like this. So these are kind of also a fun one. You know, you'll get some. These are done from seed, so you get some that have multiple colors coming up in one plant, but just very prolific. Bloom their heads off to come on. It's that very early spring that, you know, we've been cooped up for so long for the last several months that it's just so nice to have the sunshine now that a little flower really kind of brightens your day.
And, you know, let's be honest, with the sunshine, we can even get your plants and go out and plant them in this weather because it's so nice out.
You know, and the nice thing about, you know, the Little Prince perennials and all of our plants that we do grow them cold. And so that means that we are not heating our greenhouses in the wintertime.
Nice.
So these have gone through all of the winter, all of the cold temperatures under cover, so they are more acclimated and ready to go in your garden, and definitely be able to plant them now without having damage.
And proof of that is these are actually out here. Some of them are still blooming all over the place, so clearly that works because they're outside right now.
Right. We've had plants in the garden centers on the benches since January.
Wow. And
they've taken the low 20-degree temperatures, and they look great.
And you've got to tell me about this. It's a poppy, isn't it?
It is a poppy. This one's an Iceland poppy. This is called Champagne Bubbles.
Beautiful.
And so you get the nice large flowers that come up on there like that. And then these are the little buds. So these will have kind of a mixture of the different colors. So you have some, you know, the pinks, the oranges, the yellows, and it's just a very cheery, bright.
That is a great variety of color. Now, you know, we know that a lot of garden centers carry these wonderful plants, but then tell me, we're here at Fred Meyer, and there's a reason for that, too.
We are, yeah. So Little Prince is proud. You know, Fred Meyer's is a great nursery that we love to support, and you can get Little Prince perennials at 97 all of the Fred Meyer stores in the Pacific Northwest. So we have our plants anywhere from Bellingham, Washington, down to Medford, and then from Central Oregon all the way over the coast.
Well, so if you ever watch Garden Time and you think, but where can I get the plants? That's a pretty easy answer right there. You can go to any of the Fred Meyers and pick up some of the wonderful plants from Little Prince and take to your own garden. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
This week's plant pick is brought to you by Little Prince. Our plants won't croak.
Locally grown, fresh from the farm, stylish and sustainable, your dream yard starts at Owl's Garden and Home. Create an inviting gathering place with a new patio furniture collection. Our beautiful furniture transforms any outdoor space, large or small. It's like having an extra room outdoors. Then add impact with colorful pottery. Hundreds of unique designs and sizes, all on sale now. Owl's Garden and Home in Woodburn, Sherwood, Gresham, and Wilsonville.
Your garden is only as good as the ingredients you use. That's where Black Gold can help. Black Gold seedling mix is formulated for successful seed germination and strong seedling growth. Black Gold seedling mix is organic and OMRI listed, so you can start this year's organic garden outright. Look for Black Gold at your local garden center or go online to blackgold.bz. Black Gold, all the riches of the earth.
Come to the 17th Annual Garden Palooza April 6th at Fur Point Farms. See over 40 plant growers and garden vendors. Free parking and free admission. Stop by and enter to win a garden arbor from Garden Gallery Ironworks. Garden Palooza April 6th at Fur Point Farms in Aurora.
Create a beautiful living space both inside and out with the help of Terra Casa.
Outside, you'll find pottery, fountains, and decor to make your garden unforgettable.
And inside, there are home furnishings and just the right accents to make your home warm, inviting, and most importantly, comfortable.
Terra Casa has a huge selection of merchandise to fit any home or budget. Plus, we still have all the unique and distinctive gifts that you have come to expect from Terra Casa.
Terra Casa in downtown Damascus.
Why do the finest builders shop at Standard TV and Appliance? The key for us is having a great salesperson, somebody that knows their appliances, knows what they do, and when the clients are expressing how they live in the home, can take that and elaborate and turn it into something that they have a kitchen of their dreams that they want to cook in, they want to be there, they want to show it off. And we get that by using Standard.
Standard can make your dream kitchen a reality, setting the standard since 1947. Standard TV and Appliance.
Well, I'm up at Pittock Mansion, and it's just a little bit chilly here and a little snow, but we're talking about climbing roses. I'm with Rachel, and so Rachel, you're usually at the Rose Garden at Washington Park, but we're up here at Pittock to learn about climbers, not just that you know how to do hybrid teas like we always talk about. So how is this so different than a hybrid tea more shrubby?
Yeah, so it's a little tricky. You know, they're called climbing roses, but I always joke they're called flapping roses because they need a little bit of help to climb. So the same rule applies to the hybrid teas in the sense we're taking out the diseased, we're taking out the really thin canes. But one thing we have to remember for climbing roses is apical dominance. So you're going to have blooms on the lateral branches. You have, you know, one main cane, and any sort of lateral branch is where we're going to produce the branch. So we're going to try to promote as many laterals as we can. And then so we're going to promote this vertically, and I'm just going to kind of show you an example what I'm going to take out.
Sure.
You know, this looks a little good, but this is, you know, this is very old. It's really not going to produce that.
Okay, so we're going to take that one out.
So we're going to take that out, and by taking it out, we're going to be able to see a little bit better
what's going
on. So.
And so do you think that you have to look down the road with climbers more so than a hybrid tea?
Absolutely. With climbing roses, you really have to be thinking about next year.
Okay.
For example, we have this, let me cut this out so you can see it a little bit better.
Okay, that's old.
Yeah, so you can see this nice new cane
it's beautiful.
Coming in. That's been, you know, that was there from last year. So, and it's just going to have like a newer growth, and we're going to promote those laterals. But knowing with the season to come, you're going to be checking around the base looking for the next nice healthy cane that you're going to promote, you know, how you're going to train.
Okay, what do you think about this one here? Because it looks like it's pretty old.
Yeah, so this one's pretty old, but you know, we really don't have too many replacements. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to cut it a little bit. So I'm going to cut that there, and I'm actually going to cut, you know, actually I see a little bit of a borer damage, so I'm actually going to cut that down a little bit more.
See it clean.
There we go. Now we have a nice, clean, healthy. And then by cutting this, we still have the lateral. We still have the laterals that will promote the bloom. So you're just kind of going to create this main cane and then the laterals off of it.
All right. And this is kind of interesting that it's in an obelisk. It's a climber. It's not on a trellis, not on an arbor, in a perennial border.
Absolutely. So. As I said, the laterals are where they're going to bloom. So you have down here, you really aren't going to have too much bloom. So what we have is we actually have some roses, we have some perennials in front of it to create that bloom. So when you see the blooms up at the top, you're just looking at, you know, a whole different depths of blooms.
Right. And you have a different style on a fence. So let's go across there and teach us how to prune that one.
Absolutely.
So this style of climber is totally different than the one we saw in the perennial bed. So what do you want to do here?
So this is actually going to take more of an espalier effect. This is going to create a wall of roses versus we have all the blooms up at the top. So kind of a different animal here, like you said. So the first thing I'm going to do is, as we said before, you know, take out all that old diseased and damaged wood. So as you can see, this one's looking a little bit dicey here. You know, we have the gray, you know, versus that nice new green. And so I'm going to take that out, knowing that this one right here is actually going to replace it. Remember how I said always be thinking about what's going to be replacing it next year. So I'm actually just going to saw this.
Well, that was pretty easy. That's a nice sharp saw.
Yeah, exactly. We're just going to have a few offshoots you just have to take off.
Right.
But another thing, that once we'll get this out of the way.
Okay.
Oh man, what a monster.
Well, that was a big one. But you can see that this is going to be
barbed wire.
This is going to be nice and fresh for this season. That's going to be great.
Absolutely. And so once again, we're going to promote the laterals. So this is, I'm actually going to take off just because it's just a little tip too crowded, so I'm going to take this one off.
And would you rather have it more two-dimensional? You don't want it coming out to these little shrub roses too?
Yeah, I'm actually going to try, the goal is to put it up against the wall, create a wall, and we have some jute that we can just tie it up at the end.
Perfect.
So once I get this cut, you see a little bit better about what I'm going to do to the horizontals.
And Rachel, it's March now, so we could have done this in the fall, but it's really not too late to do it now.
Yeah, it's not too late to do this. I would recommend doing it like when you're doing your wind pruning. Start working on your climbers as well.
Well, we're going to have Rachel do her pruning, and because it's so hard to talk while she's pruning, and we'll meet her back in just a minute. Well, Rachel, you really were aggressive when you took off this plant material, so you really want to head back all of these laterals, is that right?
Absolutely, and that just creates kind of a neater look, and once again, the blooms are coming from the lateral from last year's growth. So just kind of cleaning them up a little bit. It's kind of good to keep them uniform in size, just because it just makes for a better shape. And then another thing to think about is, you know, you have all this, you know, it's a flopping rose, not a climbing rose, as we've established. So you're really going to have to train it yourself, and what better use for it than jute here. So as you know, I'm trying to train this long cane up against the wall, kind of make a wall of blooms. And so in order to do that, I had this jute just to kind of hold it back a little bit. And then at the very end, what I would do is just push it all back. I'd take one big thing of jute and just kind of train the entire rows into it.
Right against it.
That way you have these little ones that can't quite reach the back, can still be pulled back and won't go, you know, knocking someone out or something.
Well, really, this has been so informative. Thank you so much for all these tips.
Really? Yeah.
And if you have these at your house, you could try that and really get them against a fence, which is something different for a rose, or come up to the Pittock Mansion and see exactly what we did here. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
I've been a Capital Subaru customer for 15 years, and one of the main reasons is because they treat me well and I want to shop local. The service department is excellent, and I always feel like I'm taken care of here. In fact, they call me now even after I've driven off the lot to remind me to come in and get my car washed. That's service. One of the reasons why I like coming to Capital Subaru, actually, they have the dog area, and I can just walk my dog around the whole area and we can enjoy the outside. I got it my way on the Parkway.
Over the 30 years that our family has been in the nursery industry, we've learned that anyone can supply a customer with plants and garden supplies. But it's supplying those plants and supplies backed by a knowledgeable staff that can transform a garden and take it from ordinary to extraordinary. That's what we do at Sagawa Nursery. Why be ordinary when you can be extraordinary? Sagawa Nursery, growing beyond the ordinary.
For over 100 years, Collier Arbor Care and Bartlett Tree Experts have provided tree and shrub care services to the Portland metropolitan area.
From large tree and small shrub pruning, tree removal, and stump grinding, we can handle all your tree care needs.
Our arborists diagnose and treat your toughest insect and disease problems.
We also have organic solutions for growing and maintaining healthy gardens, as well as organic nutrition for your trees and shrubs.
Collier and Bartlett, environmentally friendly since 1907.
Come to the 17th Annual Garden Palooza April 6th at Fur Point Farms. See over 40 plant growers and garden vendors. Free parking and free admission. Stop by and enter to win a garden arbor from Garden Gallery Ironworks. Garden Palooza April 6th at Fur Point Farms in Aurora.
At Garland Nursery, you'll find
top quality plants,
4 generations of garden know-how,
fun and fantastic garden decor,
and the best in garden supplies.
Come visit us at Garland Nursery.
Since 1937, inspiring beautiful and bountiful gardens.
Well, I am standing in the beautiful Rogerson Clematis Garden, and I'm here with Kathy Whitman. And Kathy, you have a great class coming up, so tell me about it.
I do. We're going to talk about designing and implementing perennial borders in our own
So what
yards.
is that, when you say designing, is it just a class then that tells you which tall plants and short, all of that stuff? Or tell me about the class even more.
All of that stuff. Yes, we're going to talk about sun borders and shade borders and what kind of plants go in the front, what kind of go in the back. But more than that, more about form and texture, and
nice.
And we're going to look at some beautiful borders as we talk about these different elements, so we can.
And I would think that part of the creation and continuation of a beautiful perennial border would also be some pruning ideas and concepts that you have?
Absolutely. Maintenance of the border, of course, is very, very important. And there are a lot of fun tips to extend the bloom. One, I'll just tell you real quickly, there are lots of perennials like daisies and phlox and asters that, let's say you have a nice big stand of, say, daisies. I have some daisies that are 4 feet tall.
Right, yeah.
And so what I do is I take some hedge trimmers when they're about this big, and I just whack off half of it. So what that does, of course, is delay the bloom for that half, while the other half comes on normally.
So it's not going to take away the bloom, period. It's going to still bloom, but it adjusts the level and timing.
Level and timing. So
Wow.
yes, some of them now don't have to be staked where they would have otherwise. And then you have, 6 weeks of daisies instead of 3.
So it really, people are going to get some hints and clues on the ways to even extend the actual flowering of a perennial garden.
That's right. And also how to maybe get plants.
Right.
So you don't have to buy every one of them. I mean, certainly the nurseries are wonderful and we buy a whole lot of plants every year.
Sure.
But this time of year, there are many, many plants, perennials, of course, that I just take a sharp shovel and whack off a piece, right? Because, sometimes it's going
you're not
over
killing
my
the plant,
path.
are you?
No,
Not at all.
no, you should see my hostas are this big, and I mean, they're
right.
gigantic. So I just share them.
Wonderful. And one of the best memories I have being a young boy gardening was when grandmother and her friends would get together and they would share plants. Exactly. I really loved that concept. So that's a great idea as well. So if people want to come to the class, do they just show up, or is there some tickets they need to buy?
They need to go on the Rogerson Clematis website and sign up. It's not very much money, even if you aren't a member of the collection, but maybe they'll want to come and go
just
through
learn
the garden
more about
and learn more about it. They may want to become members.
And that's the benefit too of having classes here, is you can actually walk through this garden, which itself is breathtaking and delightful.
After every class I teach, I offer a tour of the garden just to get them out in it, because it's so beautiful.
Perfect. Well, there you have it. So for more information, we always invite you, go to gardentime.tv. We'll click over their website. Make sure you get your ticket and come out and learn how to make a beautiful, beautiful perennial bed in your own garden. Thank you so much, Kathy. What a delight.
You're welcome.
We want to thank you for watching today, and we want to thank the Rogerson Clematis Garden for letting us hang out. It is a beautiful place to visit.
And speaking of a beautiful place to visit, it is only 3 weeks away until Garden Palooza. So put it on your calendar for April 6th at Fir Point Farm.
So if you need any information about today's show or about Garden Palooza, please go to gardentime.tv.
We always enjoy it when you spend time with us, so why don't we do this again next week, right here on Garden Time.
The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.